More on all of this. Let's bring in Guy Benson, Fox News contributor, political editor for townhall.com, host of The Guy Benson Show. Guy, everybody's got their reaction to night one. What did you think?
You know, Sandra, I was very curious to see how the Republicans were going to carry off the show, that element of it. The Democrats had more time to plan a virtual convention. They have the power of Hollywood behind them. We saw what they were able to produce in terms of production values and continuity and so on and so forth. And I thought it was very much an open question about whether the Republicans were going to be able to match it, let alone surpass it. We had Mark Lauder from the Trump campaign on our show yesterday on the radio, and he said, look, we know how to make good TV. I said, all right, we'll see. And guess what? He was right. They, I think, won in a head-to-head. It's only one night, 3 more to go, but I think it was a compelling night of television. It was basically seamless. Everything looked terrific, so the show was very strong. In terms of the substance, it's that 10 to 11 p.m. Eastern hour that's sort of viewed as the heart of prime time, where you really want to put your very best foot forward. And again, I have to give high marks to the Trump campaign. I think it was really, really strong programming, and the shining stars were 2 South Carolinians.
And one of those speakers was Kimberly Guilfoyle. Let's hear more from her.
They want to steal your liberty, your freedom. They want to control what you see and think and believe so that they can control how you live. They want to enslave you to the weak, dependent, liberal, victim ideology to the point that you will not recognize this country or yourself. From the beginning.
She's obviously not one of the South Carolinians that you were referencing, Guy, but she was from the Trump
Right.
campaign. She's girlfriend of the president's son, Donald Trump Jr., formerly with this network. But she came out, guns blazing. I mean, she was a big voice up there on that stage. But she, like many of the speakers last night, tried to effectively paint a picture of a Joe Biden presidency that would change the course of this country and fundamentally change America. How did they do trying to make that case?
Oh, I would just note that our former colleague was certainly very high energy, which is something that the president enjoys. High decibel. I got the sense that Kimberly's speech may have translated better if there were a large cheering crowd instead of an empty auditorium where it sort of echoed through. But, you know, she was feeling the passion, no question about that. I think in that 10 o'clock hour, we did hear that with a slightly lighter touch from Nikki Haley and from Tim Scott. I think in the entire night, there were some arresting moments and some really emotional moments throughout the night. I think they did a good job balancing sort of the tempo of things. But Tim Scott, I think, delivered the toughest body blows against Joe Biden, not angry, but sort of disappointed and a little bit of a twinkle in his eye. He was able to go to Joe Biden's record, not saying, oh, he's sleepy or he's too old and he's not up for the job or he's senile. He said, let's look at what Joe Biden has said and let's look at what he has done over 47 years. And I think it was a really well crafted, well delivered by Tim Scott. I think he was overall the guy who stole the show.
It's interesting, Guy, you and I spoke after the DNC, and we had talked a lot about how character was a focus for them. They launched a lot of attacks on President Trump's character. Jim Jordan tried to focus on President Trump's accomplishments last night, but something else we heard from some of these Republicans was focus on the president's character. We had talk of empathy. Here's more from Jim Jordan.
Taxes cut, regulations reduced, economy growing, lowest unemployment in 50 years, out of the Iran deal, embassy in Jerusalem, hostages home from North Korea, a new USMCA agreement, and of course he's building the wall and rebuilding our economy as we speak. I love the president's intensity and his willingness to fight every day in Washington for our families. But what I also appreciate about the president is something most Americans never get to see, how much he truly cares about people.
And what we will see is a lot of the president this week. You had what was supposed to be a surprise appearance from the president yesterday. We're told we're going to see him every single day at the convention. They're trying to make the case for his character, Guy, and the president is going to make the case for his presidency every single day of the convention this week. Final thoughts.
Yeah, and you had a bunch of speakers also sort of acknowledge Trump's style, that it sometimes rubs people the wrong way. He's rough, he's tough. Herschel Walker, the former football star running back, talked about how Trump runs over people, but he gets things done. So there were acknowledgments and sort of hat tips to that perception of the president. But then you heard anecdotes like from Jim Jordan, where the president got on the phone and spoke to a grieving family that had just lost their son. You heard from some other people as well, giving anecdotes. Andrew Pollack, who lost his daughter at that horrible school shooting in South Florida, his personal experience with President Trump. So that's definitely some counter-programming to what the Democrats were setting up last week. And I think they're trying to strike that balance of not pretending that Trump isn't something that he isn't, that no one's going to buy, while saying, hey, look, there's another side. Let's give you a glimpse.
Guy Benson, great to talk to you this morning. Thank you.